Uh, but this film was going to launch a whole new franchise. Imagine Hunger Games or Chris Nolan's Batman. The studio Universal went all in on this. It's Sugar Daddy. So let me write it down for you. You're all more than welcome, Al. Released in 83, directed by David Yates, who never did sci-fi before. $30 million was the budget. At the time, basically, this was an obscene amount of money. And it was basically, up to this point, the most expensive fantasy film ever made. It kind of landed pretty hard. It only made $16 million. Panned on release. Has become a fan favorite over time, as you can see from me and Duncan loving it up, basically. It looked good, but I tell you, the execution was not that great. Let's talk about the cast. You got Ken Marshall as Colwyn, holding the glaive here. He's no stranger to geekdom. He was Michael Eddington in Deep Space Nine. Constant TV presence. Actually worked out and buffed up for the role. And was a pretty serviceable hero. We had Lisette Anthony as Lisa. Has been around on TV and direct-to-movie videos for like a long, long time. Uncle Gutty mentioned on his superhero films that there's a law called Gutty's Law of Cinema. The more a studio meddles in the film, the greater chance it's going to fail. At this time, Lisette was an unknown British actor. And the studio goes, well, that could hurt the box office. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to dub your lines over with an unknown American actor. Yeah, so I don't, and they told her like on the last day. So I don't know why the studio did that, because it didn't help at all, kind of thing. You got Freddie Jones as Ian. Again, this guy went on to do the 84 Dune as the Mentat Thufir. He was in the Count of Monte Cristo. He was in the Elephant Man. This guy was basically the star power of the film. And we also had David Bately as Urgle the Magnificent, who I think steals the film. He's basically a wannabe magician, there for comic relief, absolutely hilarious. I often confused him with Eric Idle, who he's not. He was also in the old Willy Wonka with Gene Wilders as the math teacher, and in Mr. Bean 95. Here near the old one. Well, not that old. Again, Duncan will let you know this film is highly quotable. Alan Armstrong really made the film as Torquil, who was the leader of the bandits that help out Coleman. Hey there, Rack, and welcome in. He was great. And of course, I got to finish off with this one. First early appearances of Liam Neeson. I have a particular set of skills as Keegan, and Robbie Coltrane as Roof. They were part of the band of Miriam Mann and all that kind of thing. Again, it was a pretty strong cast. So that was shaping up well. You want to know about the plot? Spoilers, you haven't seen this film. It's almost 40 years old. They actually put it on the poster. Beyond our time, beyond our universe, there's a planet besieged by alien invaders, where a young king must rescue his love from the clutches of the beast, or risk the death of his world. A world light years beyond your imagination. Yeah. Look at that's Liam Neeson, and that's Robbie Coltrane. The Harry Potter big guy, Hagrid. Yeah, that's those guys. Unbelievable, eh? So anyways, the Beast shows up, and he's basically terrorizing the universe, going to planet to planet, conquering them. Absolutely terrifying. They for some reason, they kind of used a blurred lens to make him look more mysterious. It was a full prosthetic suit that put an actor in that you couldn't really see. Unpaid army, got a problem room. Kind of man talks about being interrupted. Again, this film is good for a nice popcorn, kick back, relax. I tell you. So, anyways, Coleman and Lisa are two kingdoms on the planet of Krull. Their father said, well, they'll marry, and they'll rule the planet, and their son will rule the universe. They can save us, so they're gonna get married. Well, Beast attacks, slaughters the wedding guests, capture Lisa to marry himself. So, anyways, Ian shows up. Tells Colin he can help save the princess. We gotta go get this magical glaive. It's up in a cave. A man with mutton chops. I tell you, it's very much in. So he goes up, pulls it out of the lava, and he's got this magical weapon that we're all dying to see him use, but He can't use it to the end of the film. I think it was a budget constraint. And they're going, going to look for the Black Fortress because it moves every day at sunset and sundown. Like I said, not a bad little thing on paper. This guy's band of merry men. They go through the swamp. They get attacked by these slayers. When the slayers are killed, they collapse and this eel-like thing slides out of their head and goes into the ground. If you're not expecting it, especially when you're 11 years old, it's actually quite terrifying and disturbing. Do not use it until you need it. I.e. is, save it till we got some money for effects. And like I said, they built a massive swamp stage. So they don't get to the Black Fortress on the time. So the old guy goes, talks to Will of the Web, finds a new place, and off he goes and he rescues Lisa. Don't forget the death screams. Oh yeah, the Wilhelm, not even a Wilhelm scream, it was just a horrible scream. Anyways, lo and behold, the glaive doesn't quite work. He uses flame, destroys the beast, live happily ever after. That's pretty much the story. But like I said, it looked amazing. It looked fantastic. But there was problems. This thing was huge. 23 sets were built. To put that in perspective, most movies use maybe 3 or 4 sound stages, not that many sets. It was massive. The budget kept going up because the script kept changing. And that's why the movie was kind of like unbalanced at the end. The best thing about this film is the soundtrack. Go on Spotify, look up this Krull soundtrack and listen to it, please. James Horner is amazing for soundtracks. So as they're making it, the story kept changing, things kept getting bigger. This is the swamp set. I know. Kim Lip only used one set. 23. This swamp set was one soundstage. And I think there's maybe a 10-minute scene in this whole thing. It's monstrous. And it's actually the James Bond soundstage is what it is. And inside, this is what it is. The swamp filled this whole dang thing. And as you can see, basically, like I said, it was a massive undertaking. And no wonder why the budget ran out of control. So one part, Ener has to go and see the Will of the Web. He's climbing out on these webs. He's actually climbing on ropes. There's no safety net or wire because, quote, they might be able to see them on camera. So the actor had to actually do stuff like that. And there were several kind of injuries resulting from this filming because it was so intense. I talked about the budget. There is like a 5-minute scene where Clydesdales are called fire mares. They're running across the plains. Fire's coming off their hooves. I think they spent like 8 months looking for Clydesdales all over the UK and trained them to run and stuff like that. It was insane. Like, I don't know how the studio said, you're not spending our money properly. Anyways, what's the verdict on this one? Let's have the verdict on this one. When it came out, 35% Rotten Tomatoes. Fire mares could travel 1,000 leagues in a day. That's how they justify getting to the Black Fortress just in time. But I tell you, man, it was crazy. Not what we're seeing the Rotten Tomatoes initially, or Rotten Tomatoes when it came out. It was like, peh. Messy script, empty world, which I gotta agree with. Like when you watch films like Star Wars and even some other fantasy films, you can feel the world building going on. And this one, people are using magic just because. People are doing this just because. There's no real kind of world building. Krull does feel empty. However, it looks good. At the time, I thought the effects were cutting edge. The score by James Horner is a great thing to listen to. And it has become a cult classic. It may not be for everybody, but if you're inclined to check it out, I would. They help people have the power to do harm. If you want some Krull quotes, go hit up Duncan Thrax. Now, if you do watch Krull and you do like it, I recommend you check out Dragon Slayer. It's another 80s fantasy film. Legend with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry, which you've got to see if you haven't seen it. You might want to just go right to see Legend anyways. I also recommend Lady Hawk. Yes, that's Matthew Broderick, Michelle Pfeiffer, and believe it or not, a fellow named Rutger Hauer. Another great 80s fantasy, and of course, Conan the Barbarian, the ultimate sword and sorcery films. Those are all on the same line as Krull. That's what they're all trying to shoot for. Now, having said all that about the film and how it wasn't that great when it first came out, still got merch. And I mean, it still got merch. Don't watch the DVD version. I'm not sure about the copy I have has a alter camera for a few scenes. Yeah, the DVD version. Okay, here's Uncle Gutty's little side rant about DVD versions. Sometimes you look at older films, the transfers they use are not the best transfers, and they kind of either get an alternate shot or alter whatever thing, and you're kind of looking for the right thing to get. I'm waiting for a collector's edition of Krull to come out, the definitive edition. Then I'll buy it, basically. It should be on streaming someplace, probably on Prime. Most definitely. Good point, Duncan. Thanks for pointing that out. That's one of the most annoying things is trying to find a good DVD version of the film I like. But as bad as this thing was, it still got merch. Had coloring books. Because you know what kid doesn't like coloring? You know, these things that when you kill them, eels pop out of their head. You got a 2 comic book series, because every movie back then had a comic book series, or maybe like not the toy, but that's another story. You got a board game which was meh. You got a card game which was meh. Most movies had a board game back then. It was just a thing to do. And of course, Atari 2600, which I owned and played. You know, first off, you're defeating Slayer's going to take Lisa. You got to go to the Widow of the Web and defeat the Beast. The scene I'm talking about is the one where the Beast is talking about power. Part where the hand bursts from the floor. He's going to see my DVD version. Oh, we have a straight shot of Lisa Sirak to it. Oh yeah, that is a radically different shot. Because I know that scene well, actually. That's crazy, actually. Again, I'm waiting for the definitive version. Like I said, the art in this box was what sold people on the game. And of course, the very rare Krull the arcade game, which I did play. You're basically going around killing slayers and stuff, trying to get in and save Lisa. Yeah, I like the arcade game. The VCS game actually wasn't too bad. The Atari wasn't too bad, actually. It did repeat, but it was actually one of the better ones. The arcade game was cool. Anyways, that's Krull, folks, in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed that.